So hello everybody out there listening in to today's interview. With me here on the screen I have Heiko Schwarz, the founder of riskmethods, a company working in the supply chain risk management area with close to 100 customers across all types of industries. And Heiko, you've been in the software business for 15 or so years, and you've been working for at least 13 years in different areas of procurement, supply chain, and so forth. So a lot of experience in the room today, which I'm very happy about. And Heiko, I wanted to talk to you today to learn a bit more about your area of expertise. So should we dive straight into it? Because I have 5 questions that I really would like you to give a comprehensive answer to. So, number 1, how do I know if my company is ready for supply chain risk management?
Great, thank you. So typically companies are ready for supply chain risk management if they match certain, let's say, criteria. And one of them is that they have global supplier relationship, first of all. Second, very typical for customers that take care of supply chain risk management is that they have manufacturing, serious manufacturing, as they have to produce with low buffer, inventory optimized environments, lean production. They have improved and optimized working cost capital. And that all together with the just-in-sequence, just-in-time environments that we are operating with, every shock to the supply networks causes serious damage. And so if companies match some of those criteria, you get a pretty nice indication that you are ready for supply chain risk management.
Okay. Question number 2, what's the best way then to mitigate risk?
Well, great question. So I'd say, first of all, prevention is king. So when you start dealing with suppliers, this is a great point in time. While the onboarding already get an indication about their risk profiles to make better sourcing decisions, not only based on cost or quality or certain certificates that they serve, but also based on their risk profiles. Second, while you're working with business partners and they are running your supply networks, and continuous monitoring of the supply chains do definitely make sense to be fast in crisis reaction when non-predictive incidents cause struggle within the supply networks. So fast crisis response is king for risk mitigation when it comes up to unexpected events. And last but not least, having the right business contingency plans in the folder or in the shelf. This helps dramatically to continuously improve the risk footprint in supply networks, not only when you are firefighting in terms of crisis or disruptions that happen every day around the globe, but also to improve the risk footprint on a preventive manner before risk materialize.
And I guess that most strive in general to not work in silos in large organizations. And how can that become true when it comes to supply chain risk management? How can you integrate that into existing procurement and supply chain processes?
Yeah. So what we see in less mature organizations, that they start with risk management as a silo, as they just want to get stuff done. And that's an absolute appropriate step. The more mature companies get, the more they integrate risk management into other procurement processes, but also into cross-functional processes across the enterprise. Just to mention some of them, as we have already touched them partially, supplier relationship management. That's a discipline where you're continuously optimizing the performance of your supply base, measuring performance, measuring risk, doing supplier development activities, phasing in new business partners, phasing out non-performing or not risk fitting business partners. So the integration into supply relationship management definitely makes sense. Another use case of integration might be the sourcing process, of which we have talked already before, to make better sourcing decisions when onboarding new suppliers, especially when it comes to down selection within a shortlist, to really take care of the risk profiles of the potential partners. Category management, just to mention another discipline within procurement, should consider risk information to drive and derive the right fitting and best fitting category strategies to get the most value out of the supply networks, to get competitive advantage and create value beyond savings for the enterprise. And so those were a few examples of procurement disciplines where integration definitely makes sense. Another area could be cross-functional collaboration within the company to integrate risk management with the partners in logistics, with the partners in quality, with the business partners in the compliance or CSR department, insurance. So those are typically other stakeholders that can profit from risk visibility that was created in procurement to create and drive additional value for the company.
But how can companies then achieve that full visibility needed into the entire supply chain?
Yeah. I would say organizational integration also plays a certain role to get successful and to get visibility. And for that reason, we see companies that either create own risk roles within procurement. That's typically a setting for larger enterprises. And for the mid-size and small enterprises, we see quite often that the responsibility for risk management gets part of the commodity manager or category manager or lead buyer role as well. To create further visibility along the supply networks, I think it's super important to switch the very supplier-centric thinking in procurement to a supply chain-centric or supply chain-related thinking to cover this, the end-to-end material flow from the source to the destination or the customer, which includes also the sub-tier levels of a supply network, which means in consequence that suppliers are an important part of that network, but also logistic locations like seaports, airports, warehouses, distribution centers, own manufacturing sites, all those kind of objects play a role to get visibility of all the threats that threaten the performance of the supply. And in addition to that, we believe that a holistic approach of considering many different kind of risks is driving visibility as well. So what we see typically in procurement, procurement traditionally focuses on the supplier health. The shocks that we see in the reality are almost caused by man-made disasters, natural disasters, political situations, etc., that hit the supply networks, maybe not even at the supplier side, but on a shipping location or a hub. So getting a broader picture and broader understanding of risk is a second component to drive visibility of risk within the supply networks. In addition to that, we believe that incentivizing the business partners to disclose sub-tier visibility is another key driver to get access to the 51% of the root causes of this disruption that happen in tier 2 or below. So it's to nowadays, with those integrated networks of supply, which are the new factories of our industries, this is key to get visibility of risk within the supply networks to go down the different tiers. And to get that visibility, for sure, it's a probable approach to reach out to the business partners, to ask them for visibility in the sub-tiers, but also, on the other hand, to leverage networks as our network, where suppliers of our customers are already customers. If they have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 visibility, the network could create tier 4, tier 5 visibility just with a click.
That's very interesting. And I would assume that most listening to this have their own opinion and idea about what risk is, and everybody manage it in different ways. But do you also have some real examples where you've actually achieved an ROI out of supply chain risk management?
Yeah, that's an excellent point, as we run and study on the ROI of supply chain risk management, and we investigated the different areas of return when investing into supply chain risk management. Because definitely this is a discipline that is not driving savings. You don't spend money for a virus scanner to save money. You spend it to protect your computer, your data, against data breaches or data loss. And that's almost the kind of same situation when it comes up to the ROI of supply chain risk management. To give you one example, a company that is producing tractors for the farming industries, they were hit by an earthquake a few years ago that destroyed an entire producing plant of one of their suppliers in Italy. And they didn't get noticed about that incident, and their competitor got the notice, and they touched base with the business partner, and they secured the entire capacity of their remaining French plant, which led to 1,000 tractors being put on wood blocks on their manufacturing sites, which resulted in a revenue loss of $300 million. So that's a really severe hit. And it shows the two sides of the medal. Like the company that reacted first and that was quick in crisis response, they even got a competitive advantage in doing so. And they could even increase market share and gain additional revenues, as the other competitor or a company in the market, they couldn't supply their customers for a year. And so it nicely shows the upside, but also the downside of being good or bad in risk management. And the consequences are dramatic. So in average, we see increased cost at companies that are hit by supply chain risks of 11%, and loss of revenue in average of 9%. And both go together, right? It's a super negative effect. And just to mention some other KPIs, we see that insurance coverage for business continuity insurances can be increased by up to 50% with the same cost, which gives additional security and protection to the company, and it's driving value beyond of savings. And those are just a few examples to share some insights about what's in for procurement when they take care of supply chain risk management.
And also why this is not a one person or one function job, apparently. Thank you so much, Heiko, for letting us know more about supply chain risk management. We have for sure not heard the final words about it. To those of you who have listened in, thank you all and have a continued beautiful day. Thank you, and thank you, Heiko.
Thank you so much, Anna.